wanna watch a drama. You say you wanna watch a comedy. Well, you can watch it with your mama, or you can watch it with your daddy. You'll even sit and watch it with your middle schooler, so you can come and talk around a water cooler. We're watching all day and all night. Couch potatoes unite. Whoa, whoa. Couch potatoes unite. Whoa, whoa. Couch potatoes unite.
Hello, and welcome to a brand new mini-sode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! Exclamation point, which is based on a blog of the same name, because what's in a name? Well, you're about to find out. My name is Kylie, and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and the unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU, exclamation point, is getting ready for summer and hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panelists and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including but not limited to Stranger Things, iZombie, The X-Files, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., New Girl, The Originals, The Crown, Once Upon a Time, Orange is the New Black, and 13 Reasons Why. Plus, new episodes are in the works, including revisits for Grace and Frankie, Fuller House, American Horror Story, Doctor Who, The Good Place, Gotham, Schitt's Creek, Arrested Development, Game of Thrones, Supernatural, Will and Grace. The Marvel's Defenders panel will talk Season 2 of The Punisher, and the DCTU will revisit all 4 shows in the CW's Arrowverse. We'll be launching new panels covering Westworld, Jane the Virgin, The Americans, Riverdale, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Altered Carbon, Mr. Robot, and Charmed. And because we look back at shows now past, we'll be launching our Mega Star Trek retrospective into space, The Final Frontier, in the near future. We'll take a smallish look back at a short-term show from some kind of yesteryear, namely Freaks and Geeks, and we'll also retrospectively examine the 11 seasons of classic wartime sitcom MASH. By the way, did you know that CPU also from time to time goes live? We've been live from bunkers and comedy shows and Comic-Cons, and we just went live from Blue Bridge Games to take a shiny look back at Firefly. Plus, we're planning more live appearances and other cool stuff. So make sure you like or follow us at our Facebook page, our Twitter at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear a show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews, and we always seek new panelists. So if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback, and who knows, someday you could be part of our potato profiles too. To that end, Chief Couch Potato and main moderator Kylie here. Today, we continue another new feature on CPU exclamation point. Our humble little podcast from Grand Rapids, Michigan has been going for 4 years. It's official. And as always, we will be covering many more shows and introducing many more panels as time progresses. Yet have you ever wondered who the people are behind the names and voices you hear on this podcast? Well, frequent panelist Sarah thought you might, because she listens to lots of podcasts and enjoys hearing about the personalities behind them, and so she thought you might feel the same about the United Couch Potatoes. Today, then, we continue our feature called On the Couch With, wherein you'll be learning a bit more about those of us here at Couch Potatoes Unite! Exclamation point. In our 4th panelist profile, our new associate producer of special projects, still a working title, and another longtime panelist, Selene, interviews our most frequent and involved panelist and one of our moderator team. You might know her as Kristen, with some probing existential questions about her TV watching tastes. Remember, the interviewees in this feature do not receive the questions in advance. It's mostly spontaneous chatterboxing on the couch full of TV watchers, and we hope you enjoy it. Here comes the interview. I'm just learning so much about our special cluster with these interviews. Aren't you?
All right.
Hi.
Hi. I have lots of questions for you.
I will try to come up with some cool answers.
Well, great. I guess let's just dive right into it.
Perfect. Let's go.
If you could have any 2 TV shows that you love have a crossover, which 2 would they be, excluding all of the ones like Marvel and DC that already basically cross over anyway?
That's a tough question.
Unless you wanted a Marvel DC crossover. But then it'd have to be 2 specific ones.
Right. There's already so many crossovers in Marvel and DC, which I'm on those panels, so I'm going to say no. Do we want to get specific and say ones that are currently on the air, or any shows anytime.
Any show,
Oh
anytime.
man, any shows of any. Oh, what would be the most epic crossover ever? That is a really tough question.
You're welcome.
Is this how the rest of it's going to be too? Oh my gosh. I just want to be like, what are the first? Okay, so this is probably not the most epic crossover ever, but the first one that popped into my mind, and I don't know why. So I was kind of thinking, I remember growing up, this is a really weird story, and I promise there's a point. But do you remember on how, like, okay, so TGIF, this is my generation, TGIF on ABC was like a thing. And once in a while, they had these epic crossovers. So I'm thinking, like, along those lines, what would be a really cool epic crossover? Friends and How I Met Your Mother. And I don't know why, but I think it's because Friends was like the big deal when I was kind of growing up. And How I Met Your Mother was always kind of touted as it's the next generation of Friends. And so it'd be kind of fun to have those two crossover, but it'd be fun to do it as like a time travel episode, because TGIF did this funky time travel multi-episode crossover between all the different shows, like Boy Meets World and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And there was another two that were on at the time, and they did this weird time travel crossover. And so it'd be kind of fun to have like Friends and How I Met Your Mother, but set in the same time period, whether that's the late 90s, early 2000s, or when How I Met Your Mother was on the air, like what, the later early 2000s, the early 2010s. Pick a time period and have them cross over. I think Barney and Joey together in the same episode would be really fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
So, but in their prime, like in their 20s prime together in New York City would be epic. So
I'm totally down.
Friends and How I Met Your Mother. Go.
Awesome. Segueing nicely.
Okay.
If this panel was a thing for you in high school,
okay,
what panels would you have been on at that time?
Oh my gosh, if CPU was a thing when I was in high school. So this is going to date me a little bit, but I was in high school from the fall of 2000 and I graduated in the spring of 2004. I'm currently 33. So if this was on when I was in high school, my shows would have been Alias, because I loved Alias on ABC with a passion. It was my show. I watched it every Sunday night on ABC in my parents' kitchen while I was I was packing my backpack and getting ready for school the next day. I loved that show. So Alias would definitely have been my number one show. Oh gosh, what else did I watch when I was in high school? Yeah, definitely Alias. A little bit. I did watch Lost. I didn't watch it right away because I was really upset because J.J. Abrams left Alias to go start Lost. But I did start watching it a little later in high school. Probably Friends, because Friends was ending as I was leaving high school. Boy Meets World. I was a big Boy Meets World fan. I still am. I'll still watch reruns on Hulu. Yeah, that whole TGIF lineup, that would have been my jam. So yeah, like Boy Meets World, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I know I've mentioned those just a few minutes ago. Gosh, what else? I feel like there was so much. I watched a lot of good like 90s sitcoms, like early 2000s sitcoms when I was in high school. I loved sitcoms, but I also, like I said, loved Alias and Lost. What else? I feel like I'm blanking. It was like 15 years ago. But yeah, definitely Alias, hands down. Favorite show in high school.
I never watched it. I also never watched Lost.
Yeah, have you watched Alias since?
I still have not watched Alias.
Oh, you should. I know it's on streaming somewhere. I don't know if it's on Hulu or on Netflix, unless they pulled it because it's Disney. So I don't know if that's going to be shifted somewhere, but it was on streaming for a while. But it's very, very good. It's that whole espionage, but then it gets into a little sci-fi. It's amazing. And Jennifer Garner kicks serious ass.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, she's great. She's great.
What TV show would you like to jump into the world of?
Ooh. To like live there?
Yes. You don't have to be in the plot. Just live in that world.
Just to live in that world. Just to live in that world. Do I have to only choose one? Because like choosing multiple is kind of my thing. That drives everybody nuts on all the panels that I'm a part of.
Well, then who am I to stop you?
Okay, but I'll keep it quick and short. I kind of did this with my little intro thing that will be posted on social media by this point. But I have to say, I would love to jump into the world of Once Upon a Time because I'm a huge Disney nerd. I've always grown up loving fairy tales and fairy tale retellings, especially whether reading them or watching them. So I loved Once Upon a Time, even though They wasted so much potential, which if you listen to that panel, you will understand that running joke. But I loved the two very distinct worlds that they created on that show, both the traditional fairy tale world of the Enchanted Forest, but also the modern day world of Storybrooke, Maine. So living in those two worlds would be just really cool. And they were both just beautifully done.
Yes.
Set-wise, everything. They did a wonderful, wonderful job. So that would be show number one, even though there's technically two answers. Kylie's just kind of shaking her head and laughing at me. She's recording this right now. It's pretty funny. And then probably number two, oh gosh, there's so many. I mean, I'm going to choose a show because it's beautifully done. Oh man, there's so many to choose from though. That's the hard thing. From an artistically speaking standpoint, I think I'm going to have to go probably with Downton Abbey. I think with that, I do love my British TV shows, but Downton Abbey, again, it's one of those, it's just so beautiful. The costumes are beautiful. The sets are beautiful. It's that wonderful, late 1910s, 1920s time period. So there's a little bit of kind of that Gilded Age, little Art Deco time period. Everything is just so opulent and overdone. I had the opportunity to go with some of the people from the podcast, Kylie and Krista and Stacy, to see the Downton Abbey exhibit when it came through Chicago. Seeing a lot of these pieces in person was incredible. It's something that I really remember fondly, not only because we had a great trip, but seeing these costumes and just how intricate they are in person. And so I think living in that time period and living in the Abbey itself would be phenomenal.
Awesome. What pilot episode do you think is the best pilot episode you've ever watched?
Ooh, the best one I've ever watched? Oh man, I'm gonna limit myself here. If I limit myself, I'm gonna limit myself to what's currently on television.
Okay.
The Good Place, hands down. That pilot episode was incredible, and that's why it's currently one of my two favorite shows that's currently on TV right now. I love it. Very sad that it's ending after current season 4 that's filming right now and will be on the air this fall. But it's a good decision, so I'm okay with it. But I'm also kind of heartbroken because it's one of my favorite shows on TV. But I think also, this may sound also a little cliche too, but also I think the pilot episode for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon Prime, that pilot episode is so funny. It is so fresh and it's just on point. Again, that was the other one in my little social media thing that I picked. That show is so, it's just shy of being absolute perfection. I love Amy Sherman Palladino's writing. I think this is even better than Gilmore Girls. I know that's a big thing that I'm saying because I loved Gilmore Girls and I loved it so much. I was, part of that panel and I moderated it, as Kylie just whispered and reminded me, because I've been on so many panels. Sometimes I forget if I was part of it or if I moderated it, but I love that show. And that pilot was so good. And every episode and season since has continued to build off of that very great pilot, just like The Good Place. It's continued to get better and build off of that premise. And it's built, once again, they both have built great worlds off of those pilots. So Good Place and Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, that's currently on TV, because I could go on about shows from the past, but currently on TV, those are the two.
I couldn't agree more. Both of those. If you could have any TV show pet, what pet would you have?
Ooh. Oh, man. Any pet. Man, there are so many. They're all so cute and adorable. It'd be one of the dogs, because I'm a dog person. I want to give all the dogs all the pets ever. They're all such good boys and girls. Man, the one, I don't know why. I really don't know why. Eddie from Frasier is like the first thing that popped into my head. But I don't know why. I think it's because he was such a big part of that show that he was his own character, literally. I don't think that's my ultimate if I really sat down and thought about it, but I'm going to go with my gut and say Eddie from Frasier because he was very funny. And they made him such an important part of that cast. I'm sure there are much cuter dogs and funnier dogs and heartwarming dogs out there, but we're gonna go with Eddie from Frasier for now.
Solid. If you were a producer, what item from another medium would you bring to the TV screen?
Ooh, item from another medium. Probably a sense of theatricality.
Let me read. If you could
Rephrase
bring
that.
like a book or a comic or a TV, yes.
Oh,
If you could adapt.
Thank you. That is the word. Okay, let's re-ask
okay.
that.
Okay, re-ask. Because I'm like another medium. Like, okay, gotcha.
If you were a producer, what adaptation would you make into or that still's not a good word. What would you adapt? Yes, if you were a producer, what would you adapt into a TV show?
Oh, I like this. Oh man, there's so many options. Oh geez. I think because it's me, and it's not that I'm going to choose multiple people over here who are laughing. I'm keeping it to one. I'm talking about something else. Because it's me, and because we all know that I love fairy tale retellings. That's my thing. I've mentioned that a couple different panels, but mostly on Once Upon a Time. Did we do a Grimm panel? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was on the Grimm panel, right? Yeah, I forget. I'm on so many. I don't remember what I've done. I love fairy tale retellings. And so I think what I want to do would be to bring another sort of fairy tale inspired show to TV with a retelling aspect. Whether that's like taking another Disney property that hasn't been done or doing an anthology series of some sort and kind of playing off of that. I don't know if I have one specific like book or series in my mind yet, but that would probably be something that would really speak to me and that I'd want to do. So I don't know because I mean, obviously the Grimm brothers, their stories have been brought to life multiple times. So I don't know if I'd want to seek out another, like either fairy tale author or folk story author that hasn't been done as much, or do maybe an anthology series of how classic fairy tale characters have been almost like reinterpreted in different cultures throughout the world. Okay. Something like that. Or not quite Once Upon a Time, but, take a classic character and put them into more of a modern day setting and do a twist that way. But for me, that's always fascinating to me, is always reading those books, watching those stories, whether on television or in film, and see what these writers and producers and directors do with them. So that's probably what I would do.
Okay. If you could go back and fix any TV show, whether it's just a bad ending or a bad couple of seasons, which one would you save?
How many am I limited to? Yeah.
I want to say one.
Well, I'm going to not say Game of Thrones because we haven't done that panel yet. I'll save that for that discussion. There's so many I could choose. Lost is one. Alias is another one. Season 5, man, that still breaks my heart. It's still good. It's still worth watching, Selene. Still watch it. Okay. Season 5 just wasn't nearly as good because J.J. Abrams was way far gone from it at that point. Once Upon a Time, that show. That's the one that I'll pick. That one still breaks my heart. I would go back in time and barge into the writer's room and say, you know what? Let's just stop. Let's stop with, season 6? Let's stop with season 6 when, Jennifer Morrison and most of the cast has decided to leave. She's the main character. This is her story. Unless you're going to decide to go off and do an anthology series and totally separate yourself, let's stop with season 6. You have a great little bow on this. Let's not give these extra scenes that start the segue into season 7 with an adult Henry Mills and his whole saga. No, let's cut those. Let's leave them on the cutting room floor. Let's wrap up season 6 in a nice little bow and let's stop. We don't need a season 7. As great as an ending as they were able to wrap that up into, I think what they could have done is either ended it nicely with a bow on season 6 or maybe somehow taken the ultimate ending of season 7 and maybe started working that into the ending of season 6 a little earlier, because that ending with Regina becoming the ultimate queen of this merged realm and storybook in the Enchanted Forest was also beautiful. Ultimately didn't need it, but it was beautiful. So let's just pretend season 7 never existed and end it with season 6, end it on a high note, call it good, and let's move on with our lives.
All right.
And I'm done.
Now on to our final question. It's a two-parter.
Ooh, I like these.
So, you are in an elevator.
Okay.
Your all-time favorite TV show character enters. Who is it?
Oh, man. Oh, all-time favorite ever. There's so many different ways I can take this, not knowing what the second part of the question is. Is it my all-time favorite ever? Like, they're just the best and I love them? Is it this is my favorite character because this is the one I wanted to be when I was younger? Is it this is the one that I had the crush on? Like, this is the really cute boy that I wanted to grow up and marry that was on TV? Oh, man. Decisions. Okay. All-time favorite ever. Lucy Ricardo from I Love Lucy because it was my favorite show growing up and I would stay up late and watch it on Nick at Night. I love Lucille Ball, and Lucy Ricardo from I Love Lucy was like the best. Okay, Lucy's in the elevator. I would legit be freaking out.
As the elevator nears your floor, suddenly it stops. And you and Lucy are now stuck in this elevator.
I am doomed.
For the next 9 hours.
Oh my gosh.
By the time you are rescued, are you best friends with Lucy or are you now mortal enemies? Or something in between.
Oh no. I should have picked the boy I had a crush on. Sean Hunter and I would be so much more than best friends by this point. Yeah. Oh, Sean Hunter. He was so good looking when The Girl Meets World reboot came on the air on Disney Channel these past couple of years. Whew. Rider strong, still going strong. Oh, Lucy. I could see the two of us, making polite small talk, finding common ground, becoming really good friends, and then trying to desperately find a way to get out of the elevator. Crazy hijinks probably ensue. And then I can see things going terribly. And then I can really probably start to understand why her and Ricky got into some fights. Because some of her ideas just are not smart. At the end of 9 hours, probably somewhere in between.
All right.
I mean, I'd want to be best friends with her because I think we'd have some really fun adventures. She did with Ethel,
Mm-hmm.
Bless Ethel's heart for putting up with it. Yeah, I think it'd probably be somewhere in between. I think, yeah, in between. And I'd be wondering why no one, the call button for the fire department wasn't working for 9 hours. Yeah, probably somewhere in between, and I'd be really wishing that I had said Sean Hunter.
Well, there you go.
Oh, thanks, Selene.
You're welcome.
These are fun.
I tried real hard.
Couch Potatoes Unite! Was produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, which is really another way of saying executively produced by me, Kylie Piette. My associate producers are Krista Pennington and Selene Rezmer. I edit this podcast, and our logo is by Rebecca Wallace. Our marketing graphic artist is Krista. Our theme song was written by Sarah Milbratz and sung by Sarah, Amy McDaniel, and Kelsey Rezmer. Kelsey played the keyboard, Ian McDonough played the bass, Christian Somerville played the guitar, and the whole kit and caboodle was engineered and produced by Kyle Aspinall and Christian. We hail from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play, or wherever you find your podcasts. Give us stars, give us comments, give us reviews. Let us know how we're doing. Send us a message. We might just read it on the podcast. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what we should keep, what we should toss. You know how it goes. And if you have suggestions on shows we might consider, contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, where we have a guest book, by email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or via our social media, Facebook, Twitter at CPU Podcast, and Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite. Though, of course, we add new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time. We always have several more new episodes coming down the pike. Just listen to our intros. And if you miss old episodes or want to know in general what we cover, just find us. We are everywhere and searchable wherever you look for things on the internet. You can search for us, or you can subscribe on our website, our channels, our social media accounts. Stay up on our new events and episodes. In our next On the Couch With feature, Kristen interviews our second most frequent and involved panelist, though it's real close, folks, as well as one of our moderator team, Nick Plus, we're in our busy summer season and some luminary events and milestones are coming along the horizon, including our gigantic Star Trek theme series and our 200th episode. I can't even believe we're there, or almost there. Well, we still have a few more to go, but you'll see. Stay tuned for all the whens and what fors and all the cool things that we keep developing here at Couch Potatoes Unite. Also, you may have already noticed that our voices are constantly changing. That's because our panels are comprised of viewers like you, and as we move through the summer, you'll be hearing some brand new voices in addition to all of your favorites who've been around. If you'd like to talk about TV too, let us know. You could be one of our panelists. Contact us at our Facebook page, our Twitter at CPU Podcast, or our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, or send us an email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com. You can also suggest shows for us to cover. We take your suggestions to heart as we're a podcast by the people, for the people. We are United Couch Potatoes after all. In the meantime, new episodes of Couch Potatoes Unite! Will return with regular water cooler episodes on June 26th. Our new episodes will no doubt feature any of the following: Fuller House Season 4, the first episode of our new Jane the Virgin series panel, or the first episode of our Westworld panel, schedule permitting. And all of your favorite summer panels will be reconvening around the water cooler soon, including the DCTU panel, the Supernatural panel, and the American Horror Story panel. So until next time, until next episode, new episodes published every Wednesday. Keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned. Bye-bye.